Good afternoon. This is Headline News on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. I'm Roger Sant. Attorney Christlyn Moore is to be sworn in sometime this afternoon by acting President Timothy Hamel-Smith as the country's new Justice Minister. She replaces Herbert Volney, who was dismissed on Thursday by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar. The Prime Minister says after an investigation into the now controversial Section 34, she was left with no choice but to dismiss Minister Volney, whom she accused of not being honest with the cabinet about discussions with the Chief Justice and the DPP. But the opposition People's National Movement says the dismissal of Mr. Volney is not enough. PNM leader Dr. Keith Rowley told a news conference this morning that Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar failed to level with the population on a number of critical issues, particularly on why the cabinet agreed to the early proclamation of Section 34 in the first place. Dr. Rowley says that while the Prime Minister has told the country that Minister Volney lied to the cabinet, it is clear that the lie occurred when the cabinet was in the process of deciding to ratify the early proclamation of Section 34.
The Prime Minister made a big to-do last night about firing Mr. Volney for him misleading the cabinet. What about firing the cabinet for misleading the Parliament? Why is it important for the Prime Minister to take umbrage that one of her ministers misled the cabinet, if that's what it is? We as parliamentarians, what is our recourse when the executive misleads us? Because that is what her cabinet did under her guidance and encouragement. So it can't be good for Volney to be fired for misleading the cabinet, but the Prime Minister to remain unscathed.
And another day of protests by the nation's bus drivers. The action has been prompted by the non-payment of salaries. Talks are being held with the PTSC management and the Transport and Industrial Workers Union in an effort to resolve the situation. But branch president Paula de Leon Gani says there would be no resumption of work until their demands are met.
Enough is enough. It's 6 years we're waiting on negotiation to settle. And based on our salaries not being paid up to now, we are saying it's time the public out there know what our management is doing to us on our measly salary, and we have to carry human cargo, and we're supposed to be an essential service, but we are not an essential service, and we are saying we want essential pay for the service that we are doing. Well, I am hoping that they get an answer from the CPO, that she give them a date like tomorrow, and we can sit down and collectively and come to some agreement to settle.
And it's City Day, and in celebration there was a parade which started at Memorial Park to Adam Smith Square earlier today with several cultural performances including Tassa, steel band, African drumming, mass costumes and floats depicting the country's 50th anniversary of independence. We'll have full details of the parade in the CNC3 news at 7, but before that, stay with us for another news update at the top of the hour.